Heaven and Earth, a millennium of Ethiopian monastic culture. Ethiopia, where it all began, is an encyclopedia of geology and cultural geography. Immortalized in the words of the Greek poets, Ethiopia is a living book in which we may contemplate the whole story of humanity.
Ethiopia appears to be very significant in prehistoric issues too. Like when we talk about the origin of humanity, the cradle for civilization, I think Ethiopia appears boldly into the picture.
According to contemporary evolutionary science, this story begins millions of years ago when man's earliest ancestors first appeared in the country's northeastern Afar region. The Ethiopian celebration of Christmas, usually around the end of the first week in January, is a major event in the country. It was a privilege for us to attend this magnificent pilgrimage with thousands of Ethiopians from across all parts of the country.
In the 4th century, some traditions say that in fact it came during the time of the apostles, but at all events it's been here so long that it has come into very close contact with the local civilization, and I suppose there was an Africanization of Christianity, so that it becomes much more in harmony with traditional African beliefs.
Although Christianity existed long before the rule of King Ezana of the Kingdom of Axum, it took root and flourished after it was declared a state religion in 330 AD. Begins at Lalibela, the 8th wonder of the world, where tourists flock to see the remarkable and world-famous rock-hewn churches. The only pre-colonial Christian church in sub-Saharan Africa, the Ethiopian church has a membership of between 40 and 45 million, the majority of whom live in Ethiopia, and is thus the largest of all the Orthodox Oriental churches. According to legend, King Lalibela of the Zagwe dynasty built the churches in the form of the Jerusalem of his dreams. It has also been said that the rock churches were the result of collaboration between humans and angels. The church has a standard pattern of worship in adherence to canonical directives. The modes of worship are formally fixed for holy days, monthly saint days, Sundays during the fasting season, as well as common days throughout the year. People are gathered from all over the country to celebrate this 3-day-long ceremony called Bezakulu, or Birth of Christ. Most of the people are easily able to accommodate themselves in the church compound for several days. On the eve of the birth of Christ, there are prayers and communal singing of the hymns of Saint Yared. Among the most fastidious, prayers extend throughout the night, attended by the burning of incense and the illumination of hundreds of handmade candles. During this unique gathering, the personalities of hundreds of the faithful are played out against the strains of trumpets and ululating women. This is a very special occasion for us to observe and to be part of, a perpetual moment in time in which your sense of self is absorbed into a timeless ritual of African communality. At Lalibela, the commemoration of the birth of Christ is typical of Ethiopian Christianity, characterized as it is by syncretistic accommodation of indigenous traditions and canonization of native Ethiopians as martyrs and saints. King Lalibela himself was canonized in the Ethiopian Church. It is 3 a.m. in the morning, and yet most people are alert and attentive. Some are reading the Psalms of David, some are in audible prayer, while others repose in quiet contemplation.
After his preaching, the parish priest blessed the Mass and sent them home on the last day of the celebration.
The churches sustain a number of traditional activities. Parchment preparation is one such enterprise, which is part of the daily routine of the young monks and priests in training.
This is a goat skin prepared for art painting. As you can see, it is a little bit thicker. When we prepare for writing, it has to be thin parchment, which is convenient to write.
There are 13 rock-hewn churches in Lalibela, among which the largest, the Bete Medanialim, is the scene of a spectacular annual pilgrimage of the faithful. Neglected in recent years, the Bete Medanialim is now being restored by work under the auspices of UNESCO and the Ethiopian government's Authority for Research and Heritage Preservation. Eventually became universities. In Ethiopia for over 1,000 years, monasteries remain unchanged. The monastery of Debre Libanos, founded in the 13th century by the Ethiopian saint Abuna Tekle Haymanot, has for centuries been Ethiopia's leading center for monasticism. The center is also known for its resistance to the fascist Italian invasion of World War II, during which there was a massacre of thousands of monks. Ethiopian monasteries dedicate themselves to full practice of spirituality and mysticism. This is quite unlike the transformation of some European monasteries into latter-day breweries, wineries, and distilleries. There are many monasteries on the island of Lake Tana, but two are especially noteworthy: Entos Iyesus Gedam and Azwa Mariam Gedam, which is a center for church education among the Lake Tana monasteries. Scattered throughout the islands of Lake Tana, there are still to this day over 30 secluded monasteries. This is Entos Iyesus Monastery, which is attended by 25 practitioners of both sexes. Entos Iesus Gedam accepts the coexistence of both men and women. In other words, in the eyes of God and in His service, there is no place for artificial distinctions amongst the faithful.
ገዳም ሲባል ያው አንድነትን የሚገልጽ ማህበራዊ ኑሮን የሚያመለክት ነው ገዳም ማለት።
Monastery describes unity in social life, as we learn from our holy forefathers. Some monasteries, as both monks and nuns live together, and in some cases, there are also separate monasteries for mothers and fathers.
ብቻቸውን ይኖራሉ። በአንዳንድ ቦታ ደግሞ ያው እናቶችም አባቶችም ተጥንት እንግዲህ ሲመሰረት ገዳም አንድ ላይ እንደሚኖሩ ነው የሚያመለክተው።
The authorship of the artistic works of the monks and nuns remains unknown, insofar as it is a sin to reveal names on one's own creative work.
They wrote their